The political landscape of Nigeria has just experienced an earthquake of massive proportions, and the shockwaves are currently tearing through the highest levels of the People's Democratic Party. In a move that has completely redrawn the political map of the country, the executive governor of Adamawa State, Ahmadu Fintiri, has officially dumped the People's Democratic Party and defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress. This is not just a regular political crossover. It is a total, sweeping takeover that has left the opposition party completely decimated in what used to be one of its strongest fortresses. The sheer scale of this defection is unprecedented. Governor Fintiri did not just walk over to the ruling party alone. He essentially packed up the entire government structure of Adamawa State and moved it across party lines. During a highly anticipated 14-minute statewide broadcast delivered on a Friday morning directly from his new office, the governor announced to the millions of citizens in his state and to a stunned nation that the years of playing opposition politics were finally over. He declared that his entire cabinet, all 22 commissioners, every single elected local government chairman, and every political appointee had joined him in this massive exodus. He boldly stated that they were moving into the APC with all the 226 political wards, all 21 local government areas, and their entire political machinery. The moment he concluded his broadcast, an incredible scene unfolded at the Government House in Yola. Workers immediately began dismantling and bringing down every single umbrella, flag, and insignia belonging to the People's Democratic Party, replacing them with the broom symbols of the All Progressives Congress. Shortly after, the governor was seen proudly displaying his brand new APC membership card bearing the prestigious number 001, officially cementing his status as the newest leader of the ruling party in the state. What is most dramatic about this development is the sheer irony of it all. This is the very same governor who in 2019 fought tooth and nail against an incumbent APC administration and won overwhelmingly. This is the same Ahmadu Fintiri who, during the highly controversial and fiercely contested 2023 governorship election, stood his ground against a massive onslaught from the APC's formidable female candidate, Senator Aishatu Binani, and managed to secure his second term under the most intense political pressure imaginable. Now he has chosen to cross the aisle and join the very forces he once fought so fiercely. But to understand why this political marriage happened, we have to look closely at the incredibly powerful and calculated moves made in the background over the past few weeks, a masterclass in political maneuvering led directly by the highest powers in Abuja. The signs of this monumental shift began to manifest just days before the Friday announcement in a dramatic and incredibly swift legislative coup at the Adamawa State House of Assembly. In what was clearly a perfectly choreographed rehearsal for the main event, the Speaker of the House, Batia Wesley, shocked political observers when he suddenly resigned his membership from the People's Democratic Party right in the middle of a plenary session on a Wednesday. He did not go alone. Right there on the floor of the House, the Speaker brought out a stack of resignation letters and began reading them one by one. In total, 15 out of the 16 elected lawmakers who got into power under the platform of the PDP immediately announced their withdrawal from the party, attributing their exit to a lingering crisis tearing the party apart. The Deputy Speaker, Buba Jijiwa, also joined the mass exodus. The chairman of the House Committee on Information, Mahmood Kalamu, quickly described the mass defection as a highly strategic move for the development of their constituencies. It became crystal clear right then that the groundwork had been firmly laid and the lawmakers were simply waiting at the doorstep for their governor to officially lead them into their new political home. However, the true climax of this entire defection plot actually took center stage when President Bola Tinubu embarked on a high-profile working visit to Adamawa State. A few days prior to the official defection, President Tinubu, accompanied by powerful figures, including the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, who happens to be an indigene of Adamawa State, landed in Yola. The official reason for the presidential visit was to commission several legacy projects completed by the Fintiri administration, including a massive 8-lane road, a modernized high court complex, a new multipurpose hall, and renovated schools. But behind the ribbon-cutting ceremonies and the pleasantries lay an undeniable political reality. As the presidential convoy moved through the newly painted black and white streets of Yola, heavily guarded by armored vehicles and armed security personnel, observers noticed something incredibly striking. All along the Yola International Airport Road and the major streets of the state capital, the familiar colors and billboards of the People's Democratic Party had mysteriously vanished, replaced almost overnight by massive APC flags and banners. The state was literally dressed in the colors of the ruling party to welcome the president. During the visit, the president openly showered praises on Governor Fintiri, describing his educational programs as powerful weapons against poverty and commending his commitment to infrastructural development. Fintiri, in turn, heavily praised President Tinubu's bold reforms, noting that his policies and federalism were freeing up vital funds for state governors to deliver democratic dividends to their people. It was an unmistakable public display of political romance, and for those who know the history of Nigerian politics, a presidential visit of this magnitude to an opposition governor is almost always the final seal on a defection deal. It mirrored the exact same pattern seen in previous states where opposition governors hosted the president, commissioned projects together, and shortly afterwards crossed over to the ruling party. The magnitude of this loss was not lost on the ruling party, and they wasted absolutely no time in rubbing salt into the deep wounds of the opposition. Within hours of the Friday broadcast, the presidency launched a scathing and highly public mockery of the former vice president. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, released a heavily worded statement describing the defection as the ultimate checkmate against Atiku. The presidential aide bluntly declared that Governor Fintiri had just taken away Atiku's entire home base and handed it directly over to President Tinubu's party, turning the APC into an unstoppable juggernaut in Adamawa State. The mockery did not stop there. The presidency openly questioned Atiku's future political ambitions, stating that if a politician is no longer popular or capable of holding his own home front, he has absolutely no business trying to sell his presidential candidacy to outsiders. The statement dealt a final brutal blow by suggesting that the time has finally come for the veteran politician to strongly consider retiring from politics altogether and permanently relocating to his second home in Dubai. This level of direct political taunting highlights just how significant this victory is for the ruling party and how incredibly damaging it is to the morale, the structure, and the future electoral hopes of the People's Democratic Party, a party that is now left clutching onto a mere shadow of its former glory. Following this defection, the political map of Nigeria has been drastically altered. The ruling All Progressives Congress now potentially controls a massive 30 states across the federation, completely dominating the political landscape. The People's Democratic Party, which once proudly boasted of being the largest political party in Africa and controlled the absolute majority of the country for 16 straight years, has now been reduced to governing only 3 states: Oyo, Bauchi, and Zamfara. A few other states remain in the hands of smaller opposition parties, with the All Progressives Grand Alliance in Anambra, the Labour Party in Abia, and the Accord Party in Osun State. Before we dive deeper into the massive implications this will have on the daily lives of the citizens in Adamawa and the preparations for the highly anticipated 2027 general elections, this is the perfect moment to remind you to hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying this deep dive into the very heart of Nigerian politics. Make sure you also give this video a thumbs up and turn on your notification bell so you never miss out on our factual, well-researched, and completely up-to-date stories that keep you informed on what is truly happening behind the scenes of power. By subscribing, you are joining a community of smart viewers who always want the full story and the real truth without the noise. Your support helps us immensely to keep bringing you these detailed breakdowns straight from the headlines. Now, looking at the reasons given by Governor Fintiri for taking this massive leap, he has continually insisted that his decision was not driven by any selfish personal ambition or the simple convenience of belonging to the ruling party. During his broadcast, he passionately explained that his overriding consideration was the long-term stability, development, and prosperity of Adamawa State. He stressed that after running wide consultations with a broad spectrum of the people, from traditional rulers to community leaders, they all collectively resolved that the best way forward was to politically align the state with the national center. Fintiri argued that the years of sideline opposition politics had not yielded the maximum possible benefits for his people. By joining the mainstream politics of the APC, he firmly believes the state will have better opportunities, a greater stake in national affairs, and the ability to effectively leverage the renewed hope agenda of President Tinubu, especially in critical sectors like social welfare, housing, and infrastructure. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think Governor Fintiri made the best choice for the development of Adamawa State by aligning with President Tinubu? Or do you believe this was just a massive betrayal of the party that stood by him during his toughest electoral battles? Drop your thoughts and let's get the conversation going.